Guys, what's up? Sloppy here with the Madden game of the week. I pick a real game that's being played every week. This one's on Sunday at 1, by the way. And I preview it on Madden 16. This week I picked the Titans Buccaneers, number 1 versus number 2 overall in the draft. Jameis Winston versus Mariota. And you know, when you're number 1 and 2, you get compared nonstop for the rest of your careers. Ryan Leaf, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, RG3. It's what happens, so I might as well start now. Let's start by talking about the number 1 overall pick in that offense, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, Jameis Winston starting at quarterback. He struggled in the preseason. He has a huge windup, which may or may not be his doom in the NFL, but people are pretty excited about him. He's got 2 fantastic wide receivers in Vincent Jackson and Mike Evans. 2 guys that you can really just heave it up in the air and they'll come down with it. You see it in Madden if you press the aggressive catch button new to Madden 16. I mean, those guys come down with the most ridiculous catches. And he's got a great running back in Doug Martin. Pretty good tight end in Austin Safarian Jenkins. The downside, the offensive line is terrible. Like, terrible. So that's unfortunate for him, but we'll see how he does. I'm not expecting a huge year out of him, even though he's got a pretty good skilled offense around him in skill positions. Just that offensive line is going to get him hurt, I think. It's just a really bad patchwork offensive line, and I just can't see it doing well. So anyway, that's enough about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, although I will give it to them. They are fun in Madden because for some reason Madden doesn't seem to realize that their offensive line is bad, so it ends up just being more or less a big play offense. But anyway, let's talk about Mariota and that Tennessee offense. By the 2nd overall pick, Marcus Mariota, the Heisman winner last year out of Oregon. Very quick. Quarterback, can throw well on the run, but he can play in the pocket, which has been the surprise to me. Watching this preseason, he looks very comfortable in the pocket. But he is very fun to scramble with, very fun to play with in Madden. He scrambles really well. It sort of reminds me of playing with Mike Vick, and he throws just great passes. I think he's my pick for Rookie Offensive Player of the Year. He doesn't have the wide receiver targets that Jameis has, but he does have a much better offensive line led by Taylor Lewin and Chance Warmack, 2 very high round picks in the past few drafts. But he does have wide receiver targets. He has Kendall Wright and Harry Douglas. They're slotted in as 1 and 2. But then behind them, you have Hakeem Nicks, who can break out. Dorial Green-Beckham, who's sort of unknown, but also could be a huge receiver. And Justin Hunter. So they definitely have some interesting wide receivers back there. They got Bishop Sankey as running back, who could have a big year. Also got Dexter McCluster, who, I mean, he can come up with a big play anytime he touches the ball. And David Cobb, who's a pretty decent backup. That's about it for their offense. I think they'll do a little bit better than the Buccaneers, but it's still not a great offensive line, so I think they're holding back. And obviously a bunch of young players. They got to work it into the league. So wide receiver, they're a bit held back compared to the Buccaneers, but offensive line is such a big thing that I think Mariota's going to have a better year. Alright, let's talk defense. Might as well start with Tampa. They're running a 4-3, and obviously when you talk about Tampa's defense, you talk about Gerald McCoy. He's one of the best players in Madden. He's one of the best players in the NFL. That guy can change a game from defensive tackle. Him and Sue are basically on their own league. I mean, J.J. Watt, if he plays tackle, is probably up there with them, but he usually plays ends, so that's not a big deal. Gerald McCoy is an absolute monster. He can change games. He's amazing to play with in Madden. You'll get lots of sacks, lots of strips. I think he got 2 sacks and 2 strips in the game I played with him. The rest of the defense is improving. I'm excited to see what they can come up with this year. I think their defensive line can get pressure, but it'll have to come up through the middle because I don't have a huge amount of faith in their defensive ends. Their secondary, though, is pretty good with Werner and Banks. But I can't see a huge, successful defense from them. I think they'll keep Winston in games, but I can't see their defense winning games for them. Sort of a middle of the pack. I think that'll be an interesting defense to watch, though. And, yeah, that's about it. They're pretty good on Madden. They're okay. They're not going to shut down top-tier offenses, but they're not going to get burned by bad offenses. So, sort of that middle-of-the-pack defense. If you like using those, you'll probably like Tampa. Last but not least, the Tennessee Titans defense. They run a 3-4, so it's a little bit different. They're not a great defense. I think they're going to be an improving defense. Brian Orakpo's probably their best player. They got McCourty on the outside. Jason McCourty, not Devin. Zach Brown could be good. Derek Morgan. I mean, they've got some talent, but I think it's going to take a little bit of time before they work in that talent. I just can't see them being a top-tier defense, but that could be the Titans' downfall in this season and in this game. I think if they can't get pressure onto Winston, he could just throw lobs deep to Evans and Jackson, and they could easily jump over these corners. They're not big. And so that could be a problem for them, but I do think with Orakpo on one side and Morgan on the other, they will be able to get pressure on Winston, especially with that offensive line that we've talked about. But other than that, there's not much to talk about on this defense. So yeah, I guess my predictions for this game, I'm guessing Mariota has a big game, maybe 250, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Winston has maybe more yards, but probably 2-3 interceptions. He doesn't make great decisions with the football yet, and I can see the Titans just throwing some weird defenses at him to confuse him. And with that offensive line, he might take quite a few sacks. Anyway, that about wraps up my Game of the Week preview using Madden 16. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, hit the like, leave a comment with what you think about this game, or if you think I should have picked a different game. There was a lot of choices this week, but I thought this one had the most intrigue because of the 1-2. Anyway, sub if you'd like to see more. It comes out every week with the Game of the Week, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao!